name is Barbara. I'm a compulsive overeater and bulimic, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day, write it down. Committed to a sponsor. I don't eat in between meals, no matter what. Abstinence is the most important thing in my life, and it's really the most beautiful thing that I do, and it's the biggest gift I give to myself on a daily basis, and I say that from my heart. The reason I just raised my hand was I got my voice back after 3 months, and the fickle fate of I got my second shot, and then all of a sudden I coughed, and 5 minutes later my voice totally came back. So what does that mean? I have no idea. But I'm just so grateful to have a voice because I like to talk. And I don't know, I was thinking to myself, because I can't see my computer when I'm typing, and I'm like saying, oh my God, I want one of the Europeans to qualify on a meeting that I'm a booker at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday. It's, like one of the original Gray Sheet meetings. That's my home group. So I put my number out. Would love any of you beautiful people that I've gotten to know to share experience, strength, and hope. So what do I want to say? I'm here today because I'm alive. I'm not dead from this disease. May 14th, I will be 6 years back on the Gray Sheet. It's always weird to me when I think like clapping for my abstinence, because when I came back was after 11 months of a horrific relapse, which prior to that, I was 12 and a half years Gray Sheet abstinent. I didn't leave Gray Sheet because of the food. I left Gray Sheet because I picked up in another program, I picked up a pill, actually, which I picked up medicinal marijuana after I had surgery because I didn't want to take a pill, which led to picking up a pill months later, which led to picking up alcohol, which led to so much shame and agony of not telling anybody. But the lie I tell myself was, well, my food is clean and I'm abstinent on the Gray Sheet. And if you read the Gray Sheet, we don't drink on Gray Sheet. So the level of denial and fear and letting you know that I'm in trouble was really the story of my life as a compulsive overeater. I picked up the food at 5 years old. I came from a middle upper class Jewish family in Long Island, New York. There were 4 little girls. We weren't even 5 years apart. And everything looked good on the outside. And it was about the messages I got were, you're not allowed to get fat. You're supposed to be smart, and you're supposed to become successful, and you're supposed to get married, and a man will save you. And I have to look back and see that I told myself a lot of lies, because my parents were not actually like saying that, is what I had kind of invented in my head. Yet I had a beautiful mother and father who, my mother was very concerned about her looks. Everything was based on her weight. And I was really, truly the addict in my family. So my first picking up of the food was, I snuck it in the kitchen, and I lied and told my parents when they said, who ate it? I lied and told them it was my twin sister. Why lying became, I don't know what came first, to be honest. Lying, fabricating, not telling the truth, or picking up the food. The fact is, I don't know. It doesn't make a difference. What I did was, food was a moral issue in my house. My parents were very ahead of their time. They were New York intellectual liberal Jews who did not believe in religion, and there was no such thing as God in my house, but there was this external being of being a certain way. My whole childhood was about being obsessed with food. I was not morbidly obese. I do not come from morbidly obese numbers. And we know in this program, it's not about, for me, I was a horrific bulimic for over 20 years. Whether you're anorexic, bulimic, obese, you binge purge or binge bulimia with exercise, it doesn't make a difference. It's how you feel inside. And when people would say, well, you weren't really fat, what are you doing here? That was really hard. And that was not Gray Sheet, that was OA. Like, what's your problem? I can say for anybody who's bulimic, it's about hiding, lying, trying to be perfect, wanting to be loved, all about people pleasing, everything that's all under the food. I do not come from a lot of addiction in my family. I come from a lot of mental illness. Both of my mother's brothers committed suicide, and my twin sister committed suicide. And she had 2 little babies. She suffered from postpartum syndrome, and she killed herself when she had a baby that wasn't even a year old, and her other baby wasn't 3 years old, and she killed herself on my mother's birthday. I have an older sister who's mentally ill, and if she's not on medication, she might as well be dead. So, addiction is very tied up with mental illness. And I had a mental illness. I couldn't stop eating, binging, and purging. I'm also come from drinking and drugging. I loved cocaine because I did every drug to keep me from eating. I lived a double life. My whole life was look good on the outside, don't ever, ever tell anybody what's going on, and pretend you're okay. And nobody knew about my bulimia. My first husband did not know. And mind you, every decision in my life is based on impulse and fear. I had children, just like my best friend said, oh, I'm going to get pregnant. It was like, oh, I'll get pregnant. I had no sense of self. What you thought of me made or would make or break me. I was a chameleon. I lived in secret, and I tried to control my weight. And mind you, when I got pregnant with my first child, I gained 70 pounds. So, and I was walking 5 miles a day. So once I put the drugs down, the cigarettes and all that, my thing was I puked my guts up, and when I was pregnant, I couldn't do that. So everything in my life revolved around when I was going to get it, how I was going to get rid of it. And for anyone out there, I was a volume eater. I could, because of bulimia, I could eat 2 of the Italian round things. I could eat between 3 and 4 pounds of the sugary stuff. I ate like a monster. I also look like a lady because I was taught to have manners. And meanwhile, I'd be eating alone and I'd be crying my brains out. I had no idea that I had an eating disorder. What I do know today is I have a distraction disorder. I learned how to compartmentalize. I learned how to be successful. I was always self-employed. Why was I self-employed my whole life? Because I was afraid to work for anybody. Why was I afraid to work for anybody? Because maybe they'd find out I was stupid. 5 minutes left? Thank you. So blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. We just have different parts of the world. We have different family pathologies. But the fact is, I could never stop eating. So what happened was I got into the rooms of OA, through the rooms of AA. And then years in OA, qualifying at meetings with stuff in my pockets. Everything was about BS. I couldn't tell the truth. Because if I told you the truth, then you would know I hated myself. If I hated myself, how could you love me? So a good buddy of mine said, oh, I'm going to meetings in Cambridge, Mass. Meanwhile, I live 6 miles from Cambridge. They're gray sheet meetings. And I went to a gray sheet meeting on Saturday morning, which is my home group, the original Cambridge message of the gray sheet, where that's where it started. We don't eat no matter what. No matter what, we don't eat. And I found out I had a disease. And I found out that I was not here to get good. I was here to get better. And I got the Cambridge message. It's about the food, the food, the food, the food. We don't talk about the steps if you're not ready. We don't talk about God, because I did not want anything about God. They said, if you are weighing and measuring your food, and it's 4.0, that's the most spiritual thing you'll ever do in your life. And you want to know something? It still is. The fact that I can have integrity in front of my scale. So fast forward, I was doing the program. I moved away. I left my community. I've been with my second husband for 22 years, but I did the gray sheet, and then by moving, whatever happened. One lie became another lie, became another lie. Some of us, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm sicker than any of you, but I know I needed to do more work. What I know today, coming back on the gray sheet, is we all have our journeys. There's no way to me, as far as if you don't do the steps this way, or if you don't do it that way, or whatever, you got to find what your own truth is. I need to hear about the food. My spirituality comes when I have the food down, when I've prepared, all of that. I go to restaurants, no problem. I travel, no problem. I'll do anything. My food comes first. I have a very strong Boston community. I have a really good life. It's about getting down to the really underlying stuff, and we all do it differently. We all do service differently. I'm very involved in my home groups. I really am not a business person. I don't like business meetings. I don't know, something about, I went to an alcoholic business meeting. I was so horrified. But anyway, I do business like quietly. I just have to say, I am so not perfect. I make mistakes every day, but guess what? I can breathe. I can say I'm sorry. I can mess up. If I mess up, it doesn't mean I'm a mistake. I made a mistake. If I make a mistake with my food, I'm not going to be shot. I call up my sponsor. It's between my sponsor or I call up another gray sheeter. My dog just ate my thing that fell on the ground. She said, oh, you'll have it tomorrow. You know, the shame and the pain of so much stuff in my life does not have to be like that today. It's just a day at a time. And the God of my understanding or not understanding is about one thing: breathing, kindness, and try to be loving. That's what God is, not this ghost flying over me. God is like right here, like, pay attention. That's my God. Shut your mouth. Pause. And I just love you guys. I love this program. You know, I don't know what to say. Oh, the thing I love more than anything in the world, I love my food. Like, I can't tell you. I'm the happiest camper in the world. So I'll end there. Thanks.